But if we look at, okay, I think Dr. Garth will love this story. Well, if we look at the international students who study here on campus, well, the story is we have a cafeteria on campus, and which is our favorite place for lunch, right? And what we observe is recently there are a lot of their staff are Indian students. Why do they want to do a part-time job? Because they want to earn more money to pay their tuition fee. And how they pay their tuition fee, they're actually getting support from their Indian family. And they use Indian rupees and pay the US tuition fee, which means if we have a stronger US dollar, they need more Indian rupees to pay the same amount of tuition fee here. That's why we see there are a lot of Indian students, they have a part-time job right now because we have stronger US dollar and their Indian rupees is relatively weaker, right? So exchange rate is also very important in trade. Now, I think we're ready to look at some impact of tariff here. So in general, if a country imposes a tariff on a certain good, it also creates winners and losers again. Then the consumers in the country who impose the tariff will lose because compared to tariffs before, the consumers will need to pay a higher price to buy the same good. So consumers will be not happy. Of course, the Chinese consumers for wheat, they are not happy right now. And what the tariff protect the industry, they will be happy with the tariff because the tariff will decline their foreign competitors, right? So it's still like the important thing is we need to think about the effect of a certain policy. It will create winners and losers. And which group are we concerned about right now? And here is an easy mistake that we may make is if we observe that, okay, the tariff is imposed on day one, and then we observe that the good price dropped on day two, then we probably can easily say that, okay, the price is decreasing due to the tariff. But that's not necessary. And we just saw that one wheat price increase example. Because there are many other things can affect the price change. It could be that on day one, it's not only some country impose tariff on that good. It also could be because there is a drought in another main exporting country, and also it may be a change in exchange rate. Then all other things could affect price, not only tariff. And with all these general ideas of the impact of trade, let's look at our specific question. That does China's tariff will hurt Idaho wheat exports? And the main conclusion here is, first, the direct impact would be very mild, not that large. And second, however, we probably will be pay more attention about the unintended consequences from this trade tension. And I will illustrate these 2 points with 3 stories. The first story is, if we look at the Idaho exports of wheat to the foreign markets, China is a major white wheat importer, but it's not that major. And we show it on this pie chart that the top 5 the top 5 countries who are the main buyers of U.S. white wheat. So if you look at this chart here, pie chart here, the biggest one is Philippines. U.S. export about 23% of white wheat to Philippines. But what about China? Only 6%. So compared to other major buyers of U.S. white wheat, China is relatively small actually. So we probably wouldn't expect a huge impact on U.S. white wheat from the Chinese tariff here. And we can also see that the U.S. white wheat export is actually quite stable. But what about other 4 major buyers of U.S. white wheat? And we will say that instead of worrying about China's tariff, we probably don't want to get any trading tension between U.S. and another 4 major buyers, because they will buy much more wheat from U.S. than China. And however, these countries do express their concern over the U.S.-China trade tension. For example, Japan, they called for early solutions to U.S.-China trade war. And Japan is the top 2 U.S. white wheat importer here. Then why Japan cares about U.S. and China trade tension? And let me give you a side story to answer this question. That if U.S. put tariff on Chinese high-tech products, then who are the actual losers? Well, we thought that, okay, U.S. imposed tariff on Chinese high-tech products, and we want to hurt China. But actually, it's probably not the result we want. For example, here is a graph for iPhone that U.S. import from China. We can see that to produce an iPhone, the total manufacturing cost there are actually about $60 are from Japan. It's because we use Japanese flash memory or touch screens to produce this iPhone. And also we use other parts of production from other countries like Korea, and they provide the processor of the phone, and also some other parts from Germany. But what is the cost value? Comes from China. It's only $6.50. And what is that? It's not any parts of phone production. It's the assembly fee. So what China do is they buy the parts from other country and they assemble it in China, and then they sell the final products, the iPhone, to the US. So we can imagine that if US impose tariff on iPhone, will they hurt China a lot? Just this $6.50 for assembling? No. Then who is the actual loser here? It's Japan, right? So that's why Japan have a concern on this US and China tension, because they get an indirect effect from this US-China tension. And